Hello, good afternoon. It's 3rd of March 2025. Mika Vauhkala here, and I'm here with Virginie de Araujo-Recchia. How you say your name?
Quite like that. Hello, I'm Virginie de Araujo-Recchia. Or
Much better.
Yes, it's good.
It's good. Good afternoon to France. And so we're gonna go here on the case Covidpass,
Yes, good
latest
afternoon,
things
Finland.
yes, and introductions to that. And I will shortly say something here in Finnish, and then we will continue in English, and we will have the Finnish subtitles coming to this video later on. Eli terve kaikille, nyt on tässä mulla erityisvieras Ranskasta, Virginie de Araujo-Recchia, jotenkin näin sanotaan, en osaa oikein sanoa. Hän on ranskalainen asianajaja Pariisin Bar Associationista ja ihmisoikeuksiin erikoistunut, ja hän jeesaa tässä koronapassioikeudenkäynnissä myöskin, ja meillä on tänään lanseerattu toi fundraiser Suomessa, mekansalaiset.fi, löydät sieltä, miten voit tukea MobilePaylla 15863 numeroa ja viestikenttään 2021-25 löytyy mekansalaiset.fi-sivulta. Mun X:stä, mun Instagramista ja mun Facebookista. Kiitos kun olette mukana, ja nyt jatketaan sitten englanniksi, mutta tähän tulee siis suomenkielinen tekstitys sitten, niin kaikki ymmärtää Suomessa. Okay, so we're gonna continue now from here, and I got to talk with you last year, I think, first time, and got an introduction from your friend in Switzerland. And you are working 15-20 years with law and human rights. Is that correct? Or
Yes, I'm an attorney at the Paris Bar with 24 years of legal practice.
wow,
2 master's degrees in law and professional experience in prestigious law firms. And I'm also an author of legal books and lecturer. So yes, I'm an attorney since 19 years now.
wow, that's a long journey. So you've been going through a couple of papers, I guess, on a weekly basis. And now we're gonna talk specifically about the Covidpass and vaccine pass. And for those following this first time hearing me speak, so I give a really short introduction to the case. So in COVID time, 2021, December, I was going to the Fazer cafe here in Helsinki. It's one of maybe the biggest cafe and catering companies in Finland. Initially from Switzerland, the family coming who is owning it. And they were asking the Covidpass in the morning. So I was just going to have croissant and a cafe like they do in France as well. And then I was not let in, they kicked me out. And I was talking with the manager there, and I got their contact information. I said, I'm not gonna leave it here. It was the 3rd place that morning I was kicked out already. And at the 4th place, we got to have breakfast with my friend. This sounds very small, but when we go more into detail, this is a really big thing, this court case. And we don't know any other case in Europe or the world where the government, the highest government body, and a big corporation are both taken to the court for Covidpass. So this is a big responsibility for me going with this, and this has been going now for 3 years already. And now I have filed to the Supreme Court of Finland in January, and the complaint is in there. And Virginie is helping me already, and she will be, if needed, if necessary, representing my case in the European Human Rights Court in France, in Strasbourg. And she has already got, if I remember right, you have 2 cases. I don't know what cases they are exactly, but they are accepted in the European Human Rights Court.
Yes, exactly. There's 2 cases in front of the European Human Rights Court about the crisis. Also, it's not about the Covidpass. Yours is first for me.
Yes, yes,
At this level, of course.
yes. And I've been in France in my life like 3 months altogether. I was 2020 in Nice, November and December. I came from Portugal. I was there 2 months. And if I remember right, you're like half Portuguese and half French.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes,
So
exactly.
in
It's
the year when the COVID started, I was in Portugal, in France, and little did I know that I will have a Portuguese French attorney working on this. And um, the Covidpass was coming, or the vaccines were coming when I was in France, and I was talking with French people. Are you gonna take it? And some said that no, they're gonna take it, and some said yes, they will take it. And there were lockdown. You couldn't even go to cafe or go ski or play tennis outside. It was very crazy time, and so on. Many attorneys in Finland, Europe, and the world, they are silent on this Covidpass publicly. They do their business, they work with their clients, but you have not been silent. Can you tell what you've been doing regarding this thing?
Yes, I started to fight against all these liberticide measures since April 2020. Since I started to question the contradictions in these measures, and they gave some medicines to the elders here in France, which is Rivotril, which is the same of midazolam. In United Kingdom, they give it to the elders, and I started to question physicians and other lawyers, but it was quite difficult to alert and to obtain answers, and it was in this way that I questioned every measures, and I wrote a report at the end of 2020, and it was about the dictatorship that I was. It was my conclusion. It was my conclusion, and now we know that it's totalitarian measures. Since I started to work also with Dr. Ariane Birant, which is a specialist of the totalitarianism regime. And I also worked with the grand jury, as you know, with Dr. Rainer Fulmich, which is actually in prison for speaking loud. So yes, there's a quite time now that I study all these measures. These COVID vaccines, which are not vaccines, but of course they name it like that, with the Covidpass, the PCR test, and all the lockdowns measures. There's a lot to say about public freedom that are really violated today. So yes, I studied a lot of these measures during all these years now. Yeah.
Wow. So how did you personally and your family went through this COVID era in France? Because I saw videos, after I came back to Finland and there was this COVID pass valid, that people were even fighting to get to the market or something, and it was really like out of the hand. So how did you manage your daily life?
We stepped back and we tried not to put all these masks. And my children never have this mask during school periods, and we didn't take injections, no PCR tests, and it was only the lockdowns, for sure, that we were forced to respect. But it was like that. There's people that didn't manage to make obstacle of this, but it was our way to to fight.
I remember when I was driving from Portugal to France in the turn of October, November 2020, and I stopped at Toulouse. How you say Toulouse?
Toulouse.
It's a city of maybe 2 million people in the southwest France. I was in a downtown at some hotel. I don't remember the name of the hotel, but I was the only client, and there was some couple, like a man and woman, with me in the whole hotel. Everything was empty in the whole city. Even there, they brought the breakfast to my room in the morning, so couldn't have it downstairs, but they were bringing it up. It was, I always remember that they started the lockdown right away when I went to France. So
yes, it was really crazy, and when you wanted to go outside, you need to sign a paper to yourself here in France. Auto-attestation, they called it. It was really funny. It was really a crazy thing. I don't know if outside it was the same, but I don't think so. I think France was the only one to create such a silly thing, an auto-attestation document to authorize yourself to go outside and sign.
I haven't heard about that. That sounds really crazy. Really,
Yeah, really
I haven't heard about like that. What I heard from Italy, I had a podcast last week to Rome, Italy, with Kata Ekman. She's a Finnish woman living maybe 20 years in Italy already, or something like that. So in Italy, they had to write when they were taking the vaccine, the Italians, so they had to write a paper signing that they release all the government and every the so-called vaccine company or so from any responsibility if they get any kind of adverse reaction. So they had to sign that kind of paper, like millions of Italians. How was that in France?
It's the same in the contracts,
Oh,
but yes, but it's not legal. If we speak about the public order rules here in France, you cannot sell something and not be responsible for it. So it's a crazy thing too. And during previous crises, there were parliament reports that said exactly that. We can't make contracts like that. It's not possible to
wow.
have responsibility.
But
And they knew from the beginning what were these pharmaceutical medicines. They knew since the beginning that there were a lot of adverse reactions and death also. They knew everything. We have documents from the FDA with all the adverse effects. There were so much already since the beginning. They knew it was intentional.
how was it that, let me clarify this. You maybe answered me already. Did the French people have to sign this paper when they were taking the vaccine that they release everybody else from the possible harm?
Oh, yes, it's the document is only to say that we freely consent to, and that we know all the information available, but it's not true. It's impossible.
We
It's
freely
impossible.
consent. Think about it. It's not freedom of consent. If you don't take the vaccines, you cannot live your life normally.
Yes.
It's a tyranny. It's a dictatorship.
Yes, yes. And all is about free consent today. Everything, all our problems here in France, for example, is about free consent. There's more and more measures that are against our free consent, and it's freedom is freedom. The real freedom is the freedom to choose yes or no. I will do that, and they are violating our freedom like that. we have to be free to choose if we want to make a PCR test or not, to take the job or not. And they try to force a lot of people, and with fear. It was a fear campaign. Yes, propaganda and campaign of fear, and yes, it was really a very good work, because there are millions of persons that took the job, and there's again making campaigns, vaccine campaigns today, even for a pregnant woman in France. Yes, we know that there's a vaccine shading problem with the placenta. I don't know how the name in English. I think it's placenta. We know that it goes through the barrier, and that the baby is vaccinated too. But there's a lot of physicians that make press releases to say, yes, pregnant women should be vaccinated, even with all these adverse events that we know.
They are getting maybe paid so well that they just silence the conscience and their heart, and they just want to get money or something. That's
yes, they traumatize people. They traumatize people.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
It's like the doctors are the ones we are supposed to be able to trust, and I think it's gone really low in many countries, many places. The trust in the doctors and the healthcare overall.
Yes. How there's a long time we say that citizens have a taste for public tranquility. So they choose to, they prefer to give up rather than to fight. And for this reason, some people like you are really important, because there's not a lot of people that choose to fight. And a lot of people are very peaceful because they say to themselves that yeah, we will do as they like and it will be better after that, and it's always worse. Always worse. Here in France we have for example now an ecological pass, which is ZFE traffic zones. Depending on whether your car is more or less recent, electric or not, you are authorized to drive or not in different conurbations throughout the country, including, of course, Paris and the suburbs. Yes, now the idea is in people's minds. The trial has been successful and government is moving ahead with this project. Yes, it's very important to fight when they are trying on people.
That's so nasty. That's so like doesn't make any sense.
No.
Unbelievable.
No.
In Finland we don't have yet that, but now they are talking that this green party, that they want to have the Helsinki downtown as like an electric wheel only place coming in a couple of years. And if you look at the statistics in Finland, I think we have the most clean air in the whole world. So, and we have a really small, like 500,000 people in the capital city, and we have a big country. So it's all just ideology and like agenda they are pushing, and in the name of good, and it's creating more control, and they are worshipping the nature like this, like
Agenda 2030.
Yeah.
And the web. we know very well. It's really clear. Really,
it's very clear, and it's all out in the open.
Yes, we can see that. Yes. So for the Covidpass, I would like to say some that
Yes, yes. Let's go for more closely to that and freely share like what are your thoughts? You have seen the Supreme Court file we have sent, and just share your thoughts.
yes,
Glad to hear.
yes, I would like to remember people that are watching us that there's a rule that between the intervention of public power in the name of the general interest and safeguarding of citizens' rights and freedoms, the principle of proportionality enables a balancing act to be carried out. And measures restricting rights and freedoms must therefore be appropriate or suitable, necessary, and proportionate. So we know with the Covidpass, it was we know that was all. It was COVID vaccination, what they call COVID vaccination, or a PCR test, or provide proof of having previously contracted the COVID. And what we know is that PCR tests are called into question. Dr. Fulmish, since the beginning, called it into question on the reliability of the PCR tests. Again, Dr. Sabatier last week called it again into question. We know that Dr. Drosten already said in 2014 that it was a way to boil the case, that it was really sensitive and not able to say if you are sick or not with this technology. About the COVID vaccines, as your lawyer, Finnish lawyer, said very well, there are different scientific studies. At best, do little to halt transmission, and of course, there's potential serious adverse reactions or even death with these COVID jabs, and we know that since the beginning. And there's also the problem of the freedom to circulate, which is against the lack of the violation of these rights is against the fundamental principles of the European Union. As we know, since the beginning, the CAA, it was the freedom to circulate. So it's quite awful. So the effectiveness of Covidpass has never been proven. It's a fact. So there's it's a technological tool. Covidpass is a technological tool, and it's about mass disciplinary utilitarianism. Because doctors are sidelined in favor of a technology with many flaws. Individuals who hold this famous Covidpass are de facto relieving themselves of any responsibility, while neither the COVID injection nor the PCR test is useful on a collective level. Under the guise of dealing with the health risk, the state is interfering in the private and intimate lives of individuals. It's a shift to a society of total digital control. As Dr. Ariane Biron explains, it's not just about controlling society, but also tightly controlling bodies. This is the temptation of the Asian utilitarian model. Utilitarianism is already widely present among the philosophers of the Enlightenment, philosophers des Lumières, which is come from France, which gives pride of place to new data technologies today, i.e. artificial recognition, digital tracking via cell phones, and the Internet of Bodies. So there's the generalized control of everyone over everyone else, from the cafe, like you, owner, to the school principal, to the restaurant owner, the division between the functions of the state on the one hand and those of civil society on the other becomes blurred. And see, we can read the psychopathology of totalitarianism of Dr. Ariane Biran about this point. So an individual evolving within an institutional framework where he or she is given a great deal of power, even temporarily, will tend to abuse it. And it's what we have seen during the crisis. So the Covidpass violates the freedom of movement of individuals, which is contrary to the fundamental principles laid down by the European Union. Freedom of movement is now conditional on an individual's medical status. So it's a fragilization of the rule of law, since the disempowerment of individuals is liberticidal, and the benefit-risk balance can only be interpreted at individual level. And I think this point is not very well known, that they are always speaking about the benefit-risk balance, but it's not a collective criteria. It's an individual study with the physician and not from the state. Health measures cannot be decreed collectively in this way. This is the doctor-patient relationship, and it must remain so, as each individual may present particularities under contraindicated health measures. As I said before, in any case, the RT-PCR test was criticized back in 2014 by Mr. Drosten himself as being a far too sensitive tool, which was only useful in order to boil the case. So it's very important. With the COVID inoculants, COVID jabs, we needed 10 years in principle for a drug before it's marketed. And here we were with 3 or 4 months only. And that there were also conventional treatments that were available to treat all patients, like azithromycin, ivermectin, etc. So there were no emergency marketing authorization that were necessary at this time. So the idea behind the Covidpass was for sure to force COVID injections. It's a way to infantilize the population, and they submit to a pass in order to regain lost freedom in the future. And it's not the case, as we can see. It's a discrimination between those who had a Covidpass and those who didn't. Created a scale of dignity. They created a scale of dignity between individuals. It's very important to see that, because there's no way we can create a scale of dignity between individuals. We should also say that the medical ethic known to all doctors has been breached. Nothing authorized a researcher to carry out clinical trials on an entire population without the free and informed consent of each individual. And medical ethics forbid him or her to carry out trials with a product that could cause death. Medical ethics forbids any doctor from sacrificing a small number of individuals for the sake of the many. This is a total violation of applicable moral principles.
Can I say something here? It's very interesting what you just said, because they were saying, and they're saying in Finnish media, and hey, okay, there are these harm coming from these vaccines, we know, and we don't deny that, but collectively speaking, in the big picture, it's more beneficial than harming. So
but
twisting it around.
Yes, it's not moral. Did you hear a lot of the the thing that medical ethic or moral, we didn't hear that a lot during the crisis.
No,
Yes.
no.
And I studied a very big book. I'm not at the end of the book now because it's thousands of pages about Nuremberg trial. And there was testimonies of great doctors, physicians, and it was about medical ethics. And I'll let you know two sentences of Dr. Leibland. The book it's 1950. It's a French neuropsychiatrist that wrote it from the Nuremberg trial and all the documents. Dr. Leibland said in 1947, I'm not sure about it, from the book it's 1950. Above humanity, for the physician, is the individual. A sentence in the book. The second one, between the collective idea and the state order on the one hand and the physician on the other, there is something essential, which is human consciousness. Sorry for consciousness.
Human consciousness. Well, I'm not that better, you know. English is not the first language of yours and mine, so.
You know, it's very important. I said to myself, I need to read this because I don't hear a lot of things about medical ethics, and there's nothing about moral. And physicians are a lot of rules about moral, and the individual is above humanity. So the concern is about one patient by one patient, and it's not a collective idea.
I think in my terms, and some other people claim the same, like I call this Covidpass, if I define it in a layman's terms, I call it the combination of modern day communism and fascism. Communism in a way that it was saying that you have to take this for the greater good, for the collective benefit. Right. That's the part of the communism. And then the fascism was this, that these big corporations were making billions of dollars, euros, money, while having this unholy alliance with the governments that they can give these injections, and then you are free to go and free to live your life. So it's like a really, really nasty tool, this Covidpass. And yeah, that's very interesting. Say again the name of the book you are talking now.
It's comment ça s'appelle? It's in France.
Oh, okay. French,
sorry, it's Croix gammée contre caducée.
Okay.
The National Socialism Cross against, you know, the symbol of the physicians.
Yes, yes.
You know, and it's a very important book that you can't find anymore, or only on the second market, you know. And it's very important. I can say, like you, I think that it's today is a mixture between Bolshevism, communism, like you said, and National Socialism, in the part of the experiments on people. And they made a mixture between the both.
Really, really cunning, I have to say. Really smart.
Yeah, it's very awful. It's very awful. They took really the worst of both, and so we have really this mixture. And yes.
And there's also this thing that which I presented to the court, and I want to tell everybody here who is following the first time. So there are many pages, you know, on my complaint to the Supreme Court, and you can read it at casecovidpass.com in English Finnish, Swedish, French, and German right now, and it's coming in many other languages. So, but now you can read it there at casecovidpass.com. But as you read, you will see that I was stating in the court that I felt that this COVID pass was violating my Christian faith. So this was not only like a moral, ethical thing from the doctor's side or whatever, the health organization in Finland or the government, but I was feeling this an attack on my faith because as a Christian, our body is the body of Christ, temple of the Holy Spirit in the world. And as I knew this vaccine can cause harm and even kill you, and I told examples in the court, like of the one man I know that his left eye got blind 1-2 hours after the Fazer shot 2021 April, and he got 6,000 euro out of that. And to my last knowledge, he's still not able to work. He's out of workforce. And Supreme Court letter, I also provided this Fazer post-market authorization data from the spring 2021, half a year before the COVID pass came, sort of. And there are tens of thousands confirmed medically confirmed adverse reactions from the Fazer vaccine. So that's also now there in the Supreme Court as an evidence. So this is very interesting, like how this is this COVID pass. Like somebody told me of my legal team in Finland that asking in a kind of funny way that was there some basic human right that this COVID pass did not violate?
Yes, it's faster to answer like that. No, because it violates the right to life, your convictions, religious or philosophical.
Yeah.
Also freedom of opinion, freedom of expression. Here with your case, as they didn't hear you, the right to a fair trial also is called into question here.
And that's a very important thing, because now to the Supreme Court, we added up this Article 13 from the European Human Rights Convention, which is talking about this right to fair trial. And in Finland, we have provided the evidence now to the Supreme Court. So de facto, for real, there was no like a real valid way for a citizen to complain about the COVID pass when it was on. And this is a very big thing if we need to take this to the European Human Rights Court, because that's a big flaw in the Finnish government, what they made. And they were talking about that, the government, and it's in the papers, they didn't take it, they didn't put it there. So it's a kind of like an totalitarian, authoritarian type of move they made, and it's a big mistake for the government. And this is for good to know, the Finnish government, whoever is watching this, and Fazer cafe lawyers, attorneys, that there is this really big thing which is now added to the case, and I have to get breakfast without medication, and everybody. So
I will have this for you, for the Finnish people, to remember that since a victim of a disproportionate totalitarian measure is penalized by the absence of a decision recognizing his or her rights, on the other hand, the victim is doubly penalized, since the reimbursement of the opposing party's legal fees that are disproportionately high, since the victim is an individual, is charged, which is likely to dissuade any other person from contesting a totalitarian measure. It's very important. Freedom of expression is also at stake, since it's highly likely that these decisions which deny civil liberties are designed once again to punish the victim who refuses to remain silent and to apply iniquitous measures. Such decisions validate the violation of individuals' freedom of movement. So it's very important to see that it's not only you with this case, but it's everybody. Everybody.
It's everybody. And as I say, this is my legal battle, but this is for everybody. I'm representing you there who took the vaccines and Covidpass and you who didn't take them, so that in the future, in Europe, in Finland, in France, this doesn't happen again. And I want to remind you that on WHO website and EU Commission website, they made a collaboration deal in July 2023 that next time they plan to use Covidpass application worldwide in 200 countries. So it's there, and they call that this Covidpass was a really successful, great pilot. Now they're ready to use it worldwide. So I'm standing against this evil of our time. Hundreds of millions of people were punished because they didn't bend in. And next time they try to enslave the whole world with this pass, if their plan comes to in fruition. So this is a very important battle we are right now. And Virginie, I want to ask you something about the invoices. You know, the district court and the court of appeal ruled here altogether 6 judges that I lost the case despite unbelievable amount of evidence. Even Dr. Asim Malhotra was talking in the court, UK celebrity cardiologist known in the US and around the world, and and many other things there. So they ruled that I have to pay 17,000 euro to the Fazer cafe, even though I was let in 5 meters into the Covidpass checkpoint. Then they kicked me out. They didn't even have this plan, which was required by the Covidpass law in Finland, present, and they didn't find it later. They witnessed this in the court, the manager from the cafe. Okay, and the government, the Finnish government, the Ministry of Social and Health, the Health Ministry of Finland, they sent me an invoice. It came by mail and it came in my email, some 94,000 euro. You know, they wanted I should pay for their legal fees that I lost the case.
As I can say, it's all.
Yeah, so it's like 110,000 euro out of my own pocket. They want me to pay. So what is your say on this as an attorney?
For an individual, it's outrageous. It's outrageous because it was about human rights, and you are not a company, so we can see such legal fees reimbursements, but for companies, not for an individual, which is only asking for a recognition of his civil rights, human rights. And I think it's really also a way to dissuade everybody to go to court when they will implement again this kind of measures. So I ask everybody to pay really attention on what is happening on this case, because it's very important. You will not be able to ask in front of your court to obtain justice. It's really important. It's a way to dissuade everybody to go to trial. And I think it's really outrageous. It's really amazing to see.
Have you ever actually heard about this kind of thing?
No, not for an individual. For companies, we can see that, but not for an individual. It's the first time I see that. And I think it was the same for your lawyer.
Yeah, so the government punished my lawyer. He paid 21,006 euros. They punished him that he was defending me effectively. So the judges wanted to punish, and 2 of the judges were should not have been in my case. It's also in the case Covidpass. .com website, you can read why they should not have been there even. And there was like close to 10 breakings of the so-called procedural law, my right to witness the case, and it's all there in the Supreme Court paper as well. So it's a very interesting thing, and so the fight is really for the freedom. And as we read the news, they are talking about this next pandemic, and there is a virus here and another one there, and somebody died there and somebody here, and they may try to get this kind of vaccine pass to be used again, and we are with
Yes,
Virginia. Yes.
yes. The European Covidpass the WHO took that as a model.
Yes.
They think that it's a success. They will use it for sure.
Yeah.
They
And
are
now
not.
that this case is valid and going, so if they tried this thing to this vaccine pass come, so you can always say that there is Mika Vauhkala of Finland, he has a case going on, you cannot put this on. And I ask you to spread this video as far as you can, because we need more people to know about this thing, what's going on. And there is a Covidpass, a movie coming out maybe this year. We're gonna release it, the first part of that, 1.5 hour. It's in English, and we will have in different languages the subtitles coming, and all these kind of things. And now, as said in the beginning, Virginie is helping me with some things here, and then if needed at the European Human Rights Court. And in Finland, we have this fundraiser going on. You can find it from my profile, and with MobilePay you can donate at and like a bank transfer. mekansalaiset.fi. You can find it and on my Facebook, X, and Instagram accounts. And internationally, outside Finland, you can also donate to this case and help out at givesendgo.com/case Covidpass. So givesendgo.com/case Covidpass, and altogether the costs from opponents and my side is roughly close to 200,000 euro already at this point. So this is not a cheap croissant, non-served croissant. So thank you for the help here. And Virginie, what do you have to say as a summary for the people in Finland and following this? So, and how people can find you actually? Are you on social media, or how people can follow you online?
Thank you. I would like to say thank you for courage and for raising your voice on this subject. I'm on Telegram. I'm not very present on the social medias, but I have an account also on X, also Twitter, and that's all. But I have also an official website where I write some comments about the crisis and what is happening. And yes, I hope that internationally your case will be brought to the attention of a lot of people, because as I said before, you are one of the few that are fighting against these measures, and that they will try to implement this Covidpass worldwide. And I'm sure that it will be a success if we don't fight against it. And I know that there's a lot of energy that everybody has given during all these years, but we need to keep fighting. keep fighting. It's the only way. We don't have the choice here to have the choice later. Remember that freedom is a liberty. It's the faculty to choose with information and how you want to live your life, and it's also a protection of life. The right to life is at stake now.
Yes, and right to health, and it's really weird. I want to say this, that in France, in Finland, in Europe, we have to fight for freedom in the West, and the freedom, this basic kind of freedom, is like one of the most valuable things we have for everybody here that we should have. And now it was taken away with this Covidpass. So I never thought this kind of thing would come in my lifetime, but there we go. So
yes, in Europe we are, I think, quite 450 million people. It's a gigantic experiment laboratory about social control and all these kinds of things. And we need to be really cautious. Really cautious. Yes.
Can I have a request for you? This is like a sort of funny last line here. Would you say, if you want, freely, in French, to the Finnish audience and the people following that, Mika Vauhkala only wanted a croissant and a coffee, and Finnish government and Fazer cafe know this, he will win and freedom will win.
Alors, Monsieur Mika Vauhkala voulait uniquement prendre un croissant et un café dans un restaurant, et on l'en a empêché. Donc, il faudrait que l'État finlandais et que Fazer Café comprennent qu'il s'agissait tout simplement de dignité et de ses droits les plus inaliénables, et que nous allons gagner cette affaire. Merci à tous.
Merci. Thank you. Thank you. That's very good. And I'm sure this is our first podcast here, and we will do more. And this will be on Case Covidpass YouTube channel, also on my X and other places. So freely share this around, and we're gonna work on the Finnish subtitles coming here soon. So thank you again, and we keep on fighting, and we will have the victory coming.
Yes, exactly. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.